Hi, my name is Alejandro Casa-Valencia and this is my presentation on disaster management in Chile.
Chile is located in the southern cone of South America, bordering the Pacific Ocean. Chile is a stable emerging economy that has a population of about 70 million. Chile is located in the Pacific Ring of Fire at the intersection of three tectonic plates: the Nazca Plate, the South American Plate, and the Antarctic Plate. The Nazca Plate, for instance, presents one of the highest volcanic and seismic profiles in the world. The most important natural hazards threatening the entire country are the following: earthquakes. In fact, Chile is the site of some of the largest earthquakes in the world. Tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, flood, avalanche, forest and urban fires. As a result of the natural hazards threatening the country, Chile has adopted and enforced many risk reduction measures to mitigate the impact of hazards, such as improvements in building codes, land use planning, housing systems, liability laws, risk management, and the educational system for adaptation to natural disasters. As compared to recent events in other countries, Chile is in much better shape. Thus, it is clear that Chile has one of the most advanced disaster management systems in the region. Three earthquakes that could be considered landmark events took place in Chile. Chile's deadliest natural disaster took place in 1939. The strongest quake ever recorded took place in 1960, and the largest quake ever recorded by scientific instruments took place in 2010. The top 10 natural disasters in Chile for the period 1900 to 2012 illustrates that 90% of these disasters were related to earthquakes. The 1939 earthquake, the 1960 earthquake, and the 2010 earthquake are included in this table. Statistics for the period 1980 to 2010 show that 61 natural disasters occurred in Chile. During this period, the most common events were floods, storms, and earthquakes. By number of people affected, this graph shows that the 2010 earthquake affected more than 2.5 million people. The 1985 earthquake affected around 1.5 million. The number of people killed by the top 10 natural disasters is less than 1,400. Once again, the two earthquakes represent more than 50% of the total number of deaths. The economic damages produced by both earthquakes, especially the 2010 earthquake, represents more than 90%. The estimated economic impact of the 2010 earthquake, which is about 30 billion, represents 17% of Chile's GDP. In order to understand the rationale behind Chile's organizational approach, it is essential to go back in time to provide a quick overview of the historical antecedents to the current structure. In 1960, in order to address the multiple demands created by the earthquake, the President formed a committee. In 1973, a coup d'etat took place and Augusto Pinochet, the new military ruler, consolidated power under a central authority. Thus, the committee obtained legal status as part of the central government. In 1974, under Pinochet's watch, la Oficina Nacional de Emergencias del Ministerio del Interior, ONEMI, was created to produce a national plan to respond to disasters and national emergencies. Finally, the Civil Protection National Plan was created by presidential decree. The CPNP, which is coordinated by ONEMI, replaced the previous national plan. It also produced a change from emergency to disaster management. The central government, through ONEMI, guides the process of disaster management in Chile. Response and recovery actions are produced by the national government. Thus, Chile's implementation pattern is a top-down approach. As mentioned before, ONEMI guides the process of disaster management in Chile. ONEMI's mission is to plan, promote, coordinate, and implement actions and response in situations of collective risk, emergencies, and disasters caused by natural disasters or human action. ONEMI coordinates the Civil Protection National Plan, which seeks to mitigate natural hazards such as earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions It also addresses social hazards such as delinquency, drug addiction, and traffic accidents. Without a doubt, the national plan is comprehensive. In addition to ONEMI, there are other participants in Chile's disaster management, such as the armed forces, carabineros, the police, firemen, health officials, mayors, local volunteers, the Chilean Red Cross, smaller NGOs, as well as international humanitarian agencies, such as the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Disasters such as the 2010 earthquake have shaped disaster management policy and planning in Chile. The earthquake demonstrates that some aspects of the national plan work well, as they've helped to save lives. For instance, Chile's building code enforcement, seismic retrofits, public preparedness, zoning, and response capacity proved to be effective. On the other hand, other things went wrong. For example, the tsunami warning system failed drastically. The government and the Navy, for instance, played down the threat of a tsunami. For all these reasons, the 2010 earthquake and the subsequent tsunami can be summarized as follows. The risk reduction strategies to mitigate the effect of the earthquake were effective. However, the strategies to cope with the tsunami were ineffective. The events have led to improvements in the disaster management system. Currently, ONEMI is fomenting a culture of prevention to cope with natural disasters. In addition, it has developed public education programs. After the earthquake and subsequent tsunami, simulations were performed in different regions of the country. Researchers explain that disaster management is slowly shifting from hazard to vulnerabilities, from reactive to proactive, from single agency to partnership, from science-driven to multidisciplinary approach, from response management to risk management, from planning for the community to planning with communities, from communicating to communities to communicating with communities. There are potential obstacles to effective disaster management in the near future. Language, for instance, is an obvious obstacle to risk communication. It is a misconception that the people of the nation will speak Spanish, the official language. There are indigenous groups, such as the Mapuches, that do not speak Spanish. ONEMI does not provide information in Mapudungun, the Mapuche language. In addition, the Mapuches tend to be marginalized. A culture of institutionalized discrimination exists in Chile. Inequalities are also notorious in Chile. Finally, issues such as low citizen participation, uneven enforcement of rules and regulations, and the distance between the national plan's assumptions and the reality may represent an impediment to effective disaster management. This is the end. Please feel free to submit your questions or comments. Thank you for your time.